now we're at the time where the Hamashiach is getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right. Shabbat shalom, Yasharel.
Khan, Shabbat shalom, Israel. Shabbat shalom.
All right, we'll give you a few more seconds to get on as the brews are getting on and everything. You already know what to do. Just let us know if you can hear us.
Khan, that's
Not.
right.
All right. I want to come, as we like to do, we like to go through the comments and kind of welcome my little brothers and sisters out there. All right. So as we stated before, we're going to be doing another nail in the coffin series. And all these series are going to be, conclusively on the laws. All right. And we're going to be at this for a while. It may be anywhere from 6 months to a year. We'll still come back and give other lessons as well, especially when we do like the feast day lessons and things like that, new moon lessons. We'll drop some nice jewels for you all. But this one is another nail in the coffin: sexual morality and the spreading of sickness. And we're going to just be getting in depth. Again, just educating our people of the laws. This is something that we need to know. It took Israel 40 years to learn the laws, and that was the quick version. We're going to have 1,000 years to get it right, and we're not going to be able to enter into the New Jerusalem until after the 1,000 years is up. So, but the powerful, amazing thing is that Hamashiach is going to be with us. It ain't going to be no man. It ain't going to be no going off. It ain't going to be no crazy folly. And if any folly begins to rise up, that stuff's going to get snuffed out with the quickness.
That's right.
You can believe that.
So we're not even going to have to worry about.
All praises to the Most High.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Israel. So as we promised, we're gonna continue to read our intro scriptures every time we do the lesson. So go ahead and turn to Jubilees chapter 1. Give you a few seconds to get there. Jubilees chapter 1. And I'm going to start with verse 7. I'm going to read 7 through 10. And then Brother Aton's going to take the rest.
That's right.
All right. Everybody should be there. You all should have your swords with you at all times. All right. Let's start with verse 7. And it says, "And do thou write for thyself all these words which I declare unto you, thee this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swore to their fathers, to Abraham and Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them, for they will forget all my commandments, even all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods. And these will prove unto them an offense, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenant, and my Shabbats, and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst, and my tabernacle, my sanctuary, which I have allowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there." And finally, verse 10, "And they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, and they will worship each his own graven images, so as to go astray, and they will sacrifice their children to demons and to all the works of the errors of their hearts.
And I will send witnesses unto them, that I might witness against them, but they will not hear. And I will slay the witnesses also, and they will persecute those who seek the law, and they will abrogate, and change everything so as to work evil before my eyes. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, and for prey, and for devouring. And I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the Gentiles. And they will forget all my law and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons and Shabbats and festivals and jubilees and ordinances. And after this, they will turn to me from amongst the Gentiles with all their heart and with all their soul and with all their strength. And I will gather them from amongst all the Gentiles, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them, when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul. And I will disclose them abounding peace with righteousness, and I will remove them the plant of uprightness with all my heart and with all my soul. And they shall be for a blessing and not a curse. And they shall be the head and not the tail.
That's right. And you know, Israel, we go over this. We're going to go over this every time before the lessons. Why? Because to remind our people where we are. This is us. This is us in this day and time. And I wanted to reflect on when it says that we will deliver our children unto demons. You look how our people are into these holidays, and you look how our people are sacrificing their children to celebrate these holidays and everything else that's wicked. You know, so we have to constantly remind ourselves of this and what we need to do. And the only way to get out of this is to turn back to the Most High and keep His laws, commandments, and statutes. Because really, at the end of the day, Israel, that's our power. That's it. There ain't no man going to come to save you, deliver you. You know, the scriptures warn about making flesh your right arm.
That's right.
So, you know, this is why, you know, me and Brother Aton, you know, we go hard in the paint to bring you this. And I know it's not popular amongst a lot of our brothers and sisters, but hey, this is what's going to be spoken. This is what was commanded of us to do. You know, spare not. You know, cry loud, spare not, and show Israel their trespass. So this has to be done. So, brother, go ahead and bring up, if you don't mind, because we'll just read from your version, Leviticus chapter 18.
Okay,
And then once we break off from that, then we can kind of go back and forth between the two different versions, the Sefer and the 1611. Right. So Israel, just to also kind of give you, you know, a little disclaimer. I know we use different versions, and that's only because, you know, we know we have some people who's been here with us for a minute, and then we have some new. So, you know, we'll try to accommodate both as much as possible. So, but we're going to start with we're going to read the whole chapter of 18. I'm going to read the first 15 verses, brother. Okay. So Israel, just pay attention. But before we get into this, brother Aton, man, if you got anything to comment, man, just jump in. You know, why is it so important that we as a people practice these righteous acts, Israel? It's important because that we don't forget, so we can remind ourselves. You know, these commandments were meant to keep us trucking straight forward. They were meant to keep us purified. They were made to keep us clean. All these things we're going to be reading in Deuteronomy, in Slakia, in Leviticus chapter 18, these are all the stuff that the heathens were practicing constantly. And you know, growing up, man, growing up around white people, well, I remember I used to go to school with them, and I used to always hear about these stories from them that they would be, you know, incest. You know, they own brothers and sisters and stuff. You know, they do a lot of that stuff, and the heathens still practice that today, especially Germany. Germany is like probably, you can look this up and research this, but I think it's the highest country that has the highest rate of incest. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but most of these European countries, yeah, they do a lot of that, and Most High, you know, forbade that kind of stuff. All right. So, brother, you got anything before we start?
Nah. But you know, I know what you're saying. Parts like, you know, how these you know, these other nations that they take baths with their children, you know, butt ass naked, you know, in the tub with their children and stuff like that. I don't know, man. You know, that's just off. So we just go ahead and read the law. You can go ahead and take off.
All right, so go ahead and turn to Leviticus if you're not already there already. Leviticus chapter 18, and we'll start with verse 1. And it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. So basically, he's just laying out the groundwork. These are the don'ts. Do not do this stuff because it is unclean for one. It is an abomination before the Most High. All right. Verse 4, it says, he says, ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. All right. Verse 5, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. All right. I mean, straightforward. It's just simple. The Most High asks for one thing, just obey his words. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I'm the Lord. Are you going to go ahead and scroll it right quick?
Con, you heard that, right? You know, it says, none of you shall approach any that is near kin to him. You're not supposed to be, seeing the nakedness of your cousins, right? Or anything, your sisters, right? Your brothers, no, none of that stuff, right? You're supposed to stay covered up.
Yeah, and it's gonna give Leviticus 18 is gonna give specific, like your aunties, your mother, and who that you cannot uncover a nakedness or anything like that. No sodomy, All right, so verse 7, I'll start with that. It says the nakedness of thy father.
Okay, no, hold up. All right, Con. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead. Yeah,
okay. Good. All right. It says the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. All right. So I get that. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. Y'all remember what happened with Ham when he
matter of fact, I'll go there. I'll go to Genesis. I'll go to Genesis right now.
Yeah.
Genesis.
We'll bring that out to you.
All right, Con. Yeah, okay. All right. So
go ahead and bring that out.
All right, Con, right? So, like a lot of people say that, like you might listen to some false doctrines and they say that, Ham was a homosexual, right? He had tried to sleep with his dad, or something like that. But as we just read in the law, right, that it is a sin for you to look upon the nakedness, right? To look upon the nakedness of your father or your mother. Right. And so we got Genesis 9:21. We're going to start. And it says, and he drank of the wine and was drunken. Right. It's talking about Noah here. And he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. Right. And he saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took the garment and laid it upon both of their shoulders. And notice what happened, right? They went backward, right? The meaning that what? They don't want to see their father's nakedness because they knew it was a sin, which is why they were walking backwards. And covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward. You see that? And their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness, right? That was the sin that Ham did, because if you read in verse 22, it says, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. Ham was not a homosexual. He did not try to sleep with his father or any of that. He had saw the nakedness of his father when he was in a drunken state. Verse 24. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew that his youngest son had done unto him, right? Knew that his son had seen him and mocked him. Because you read earlier, you see that he was laughing at him and whatnot. And he said, cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Right, which was the curse that was placed upon him for looking upon his father's nakedness. All right. Whoa, yeah, we're at Leviticus 14. No,
Leviticus 18.
Con.
You know what's so crazy? And that was way before the law was given, but they knew, that was still an abomination. All right. Go back. I'm going to start with verse 7 again. Let's go back to verse 7.
All right, Con.
All right. It says, the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. And of course, perfectly none of our people are doing that stuff. Verse 8, it says, the nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. All right, read that again. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. All right, go ahead, scroll up there.
Con.
To verse 9. All right, it says the nakedness of thy sister. All right, your sister. You cannot do that. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughters of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. All right. And it's amazing how the Most High, so powerful, and how He puts things in perspective, to keep us from being wicked. All right, verse 10. It says, "The nakedness of thy son's daughter."
Wait, one second, right? Also dealing with verse 9. This is also dealing with like half brothers or half sisters, right? Because back in the older days, you would have it was common to find a man having more than one wife. So that's why it says the daughter of thy father or the daughter of thy mother, which means that, you know what I'm saying, sometimes they might not have the same mother, right? A son may not have the same mother daddy had from someone else, but you can't look at your half sister. You see what I'm saying? So it says, like, no matter what, if it's in your family, any kind of relation to you, you're not supposed to peer upon their nakedness. All right, so lock you out. Go ahead.
All right, the nakedness of thy son's daughter or of thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. All right, verse 11. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her naked. Let me give an example of that too. When what was it, Reuben? That's why he was unstable like water. Reuben slept with one of his father's concubine. He wasn't supposed to do that. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Prime example. All right, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister. That would be your auntie. Yeah. Or your uncle, whatever. For she is thy mother's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother, your uncle.
That's right.
Thou shalt not approach to his wife.
That's right.
She is thine aunt. Yep.
Right.
All right. Verse 15. Go ahead and scroll up there.
All right. So even though she's not blood relation, because the father's brother's wife, right, wouldn't necessarily be a blood relation. However, right, the scriptures is clear. She is your aunt, right? Because she is married into the family through the brother, right, or the uncle.
She belongs to that one man. So
and
that's why. All right, verse 15. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
That's right.
All right.
No nasty old men.
Yeah. So, we want you to see this so you can understand how clear the law is and that it still applies today. All right. The only thing that is pretty much is faded was the law of sacrifice, because of course Hamashiach became the sacrifice. So, but other than that, everything else still stands. You can't be sleeping with your aunties and your uncles and covering your sisters and your brothers, and
that's right. This is for
all
y'all that's living down south in Alabama and in those other countries, in those deep states that do unsavory things. Right.
Yeah. All right, brother. You want to get the next 15?
I'll take off. Where are we at? 15 or 16? 16. All right. It says, "Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness," right? Because two become one, right? You don't want to look upon her, because it's just like looking upon your brother.
Hey, read that one more time. Read that one more time, y'all. And I want y'all to put in the comment box of example of that in the scriptures. Read that verse again.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness.
Do y'all remember somebody who did that? Let me see if y'all know. If you don't know it, I'll give you a hint. He was a king.
That's right.
I want to see if anybody knows who it was. All right, just to test your scriptural knowledge there. Give you a second. We're gonna do this every now and then, give you a little
Yeah.
quiz. See. All right. All praises. Somebody said, "Can you hear it?" Yep.
That's right. We just went over it.
Yep.
Them wicked Herodians turned out to be our own people. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Leviticus 18 and 17. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Right? Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. That means no mother and daughter threesomes, no wickedness, right? Debauchery, lasciviousness, that is against the law. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman. It is wickedness. Right? It is wickedness. Number 18, verse 18. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister, right? To vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. So what does that mean, right? Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. No threesomes, right? You don't have two sisters and they see each other's nakedness, right? That's wickedness, right? Brother, our forefather Israel, right? Jacob, Yakub, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was not having threesomes with his wives. He laid down with each individually, right? Yep. It says this, and also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. What does that mean, right? We don't run red lights, right? You don't have sex when the woman is on her period, right? When she's having a menstrual cycle, you are not allowed to have sex with her, right? It says, let me read that again, right? For all you people that like to run red lights and just don't give a damn. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness. I mean, you're not even supposed to see her naked or to approach her in that type of way, period. All right. So that means no sexual favors while she is on her menstrual cycle. Right. You don't approach the woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. Right. If you can't wait a week or so, from your wife without doing it, you need to pray. You have an unclean spirit on you. You have a lust demon. You need to control that. All right. Says, moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. All right. What does that mean? That means adultery. You're going to get put to death. You're going to get stoned to death. You're going to get stoned to death.
That's right.
Verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. Right. Now, back in the day, I don't know if you know, but we used to sacrifice children in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Right. To wicked false gods that had no breath and had no
life.
life.
Was the main one.
Right. But yeah, I don't even want to say those names, but there are a few other ones too. Right? It says, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. Right? That means no booty bumping, right? No fudge packing, right? No wicked deeds, no man on man action, no sword fighting, no none of that stuff. Right? That's wickedness. Right? That is wickedness. If we're gonna read on before the law, we'll see later on that is a sin unto death.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The scriptures also read in Numbers that we're not going to have no whore nor Sodom, a person that involves himself with sodomy in Israel. You will be cast out. And the only place out of Israel that means into the lake of fire. Let's see, verse 23. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Right? No bestiality. Right? No letting the dog do crazy stuff to you, right? Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion, right? It is confusion. No bestiality, right? Just as we was talking about the other day, as we got that stuff, we had these these people letting the dog lick them all in the mouth and all that kind of stuff like that. Hey, we're gonna stay away from all types of. It's an animal, it's a pet, right? You know what I'm saying? Sure, they can give you a lick or whatever, but hey, there's no reason why you need to have animals licking you all in the face and doing all that stuff like that. Nah, man, you don't need to do that, right? That stuff is unclean, as we read in the scriptures last week, right? Do not defile yourselves in any. It says, do not defile, right? Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things.
That's right.
For in all of these, the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. So what does that mean, right? In these nations over here, we living with these heathens. These heathens are doing this stuff, right? These heathens are committing abominations of confusion. The Most High says for you not to do the same thing, right? You're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be a homosexual, right? You don't supposed to involve yourself with trannyism, and all of this other faggotry or any of that other stuff. The Most High says you got to stay away from that.
Hey, hold on, and before you go on, and if you notice, like these heathens are making laws. Like, look at all the laws that they're pushing now. These what you call these transgender pronouns. What they're doing to the kids, they hitting them in early. They hitting them early, like in preschool. Telling them that they're confused. Oh, you're a little girl in a boy's body, or vice versa. Everything we just read to you in Leviticus is totally the opposite of what the heathens are doing, and this is what they're pushing. And it's so inflamed now. Like even like amongst our own people, when you read Leviticus 18 to them, man, they'll think you crazy because they look at this and it's like that's the stuff that they're doing. This is the wickedness that they are practicing. This is the wickedness that the Most High warned against. But the law is like a strange thing to them.
Yeah, I realize, right? The Most High, he says these things to keep nations in order, right? It says it is confusion, right? For you, I mean, like, what does that mean if you're confused? Do you know what's right, what's wrong? If you're committing confusion, no, man, you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yep.
So in a society that promotes confusion, and chaos, there's nothing but destruction that's going to be at the end of that, right? It's destined to fall, right? Because if you don't know the right path, right, right, it's already written it's going to fall. But you can see the roadmap is painted in the scriptures on how nations fall. Right, doing all these things that cause confusion, misunderstanding, you don't know what the hell's going on, right? You're not going to do nothing but drive yourself into a pit. And it says, defile yourselves, verse 24, right? Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these things the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled, right? So America is defiled, right? Therefore, I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you.
All right, let me add something to that. Like, okay, verse 26 is so important. You shall therefore keep my statutes. Therefore, you should keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations. All right. See, our people, in order to commit these abominations, you would literally have to become unhuman, and you would have to just totally disregard everything that the Most High has told us to do, and go out and do these things. Like your conscience. I can see why when it says that God should turn them over to a reprobate mind. I can see that now, because if you have people that are so engrafted in this kind of stuff, and they know right from wrong, you can't say that they don't know. All right, we're grown. People are gonna know. It's just like when people sleep outside their race. They know that stuff is wrong. Even our people. And I heard people say, well, I didn't know that was wrong until I came to this truth. I'm like, come on, man, common sense, you know. Birds
I
with
mean, they
feathers.
know they
Yeah,
feel a little unsettling feeling. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That's why they're always trying to hide it or know they got to explain it to somebody or
yes.
something like that. You know,
Yes,
I mean, like
and
it's
it's the
not
good.
you know, you're going against your own flesh. I mean, like
Yeah,
it's a it's a lust demon.
yeah. And yeah, nobody can sit here and tell me that, oh, okay, you didn't know that when everything in our genetics tells us, you know, the truth. Hey, this ain't right. I'm getting with somebody that's not of my, you know, my DNA, my flesh, that looks like me. Something ain't right there.
God. If you want to pick up, I think we're at 26.
Yeah, I can read that.
All right, God.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. All right, verse 27. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. Wow. You know, it's crazy. Even Israel was caught up in this stuff. It says
God,
that the land spew not you out also when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you.
hey, you know what's crazy? That remember now, that the land spew you not out also. What does that mean? Right? Hey, those folks remember when the Lord was coming through, right, locking down and securing parts of Israel, he was committing genocide. The Most High, he was killing folks. Right? You know what I'm saying? These abominations lead to death, right? These actions that we read about, right, they lead to death. That's what they lead to.
That's right. The land, so that the land spew not you out also when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. So this was serious, and, you know, and we're going to get in because a lot of this stuff, when it comes down to it, the Most High knew that it would cause diseases, it would cause sickness, you know, and that's something that we're going to kind of bring out, you know, in the second part of this. All right, therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance. Oh, before I read 30, there's always a reason why. See, that's when you got to understand Israel. And that's why we need to serve the Most High without question, because he already knows. He's past, present, and future. All right, there's a reason why he sets these commandments up. All right, because if our people are out of order and they're doing it, look at us now. Okay, look at our people now, for example. You have AIDS, you have what is these other venereal diseases that are out there? What do you call that stuff when you get that sore on your lip?
Herpes.
Herpes.
Yeah.
Herpes. You mean you got so many different diseases. Why? Because people are doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, you know, one thing leads to another. So you got to understand how the Most High works. He only puts things in place to keep us as a people. We were supposed to be a set apart people. We were to be above all the nations. All right. We were not to be getting sick and dying of diseases like the other nations were, because they were practicing these things. Our people, we were better than that. We were set apart. We were above the other nations. All right. But then when our people decided to bring themselves down on the level, you know, of their enemies, guess what? We became just like them. And you look at us now, when it's like everything, homosexuality, lesbianism, transgenderism, our people are just caught up in that stuff like you would never believe.
That's right.
And it's almost, and it's like we're leading out in the wickedness. And we're doing it harder than them.
Like the Most High is a genius. I mean, like he's like a mastermind beyond our comprehension. But just the things that we do comprehend, and you see that the way he writes the law for us. For example, the way that he writes the marriage laws and you know, things that are unclean and clean, right? Everything is built for optimal health, right? Optimal disease control. Man, if you're laying down with one person and you only had one mate, right? Or even if you had 2 or 3 wives, but those other wives, y'all are all contained together, there's no spread of disease, right? There's no spread of sickness, right? You know, and later on we're going to go into you know, how the Most High, he has commandments that prevents the spread of disease. As we read last week, was dealing with leprosy, right? And the sickness and like the different types of leprosy and the things that that can contract the disease. And the Most High was teaching you how to separate the disease from the people and how to keep the disease down low. And if one person would get sick, just to keep that one person sick until they got healed. It's amazing. I mean, like, man, we're damn near 2,000 years later, and we still haven't got it figured out, right? We still ain't got it figured out. Man, we got people out here so retarded that only what is it, 85% of the nation, 85% of the world got hit with that little COVID thingamajig or whatever, right? 85% of the world took the jab or whatever.
Over 6 billion people.
That's amazing. But the answers to make sure that everybody stays well and healthy are in the scriptures. These are remedies that are over 2,000 years old, and they keep this stuff hidden, right? They don't want you to know it, right? They don't want you to believe that God knows what he's talking about. This is why they want you to stay out the law, right? The law teaches you how to maintain healthy environment, right? But they don't want you to read this stuff. They want you to believe that, what the doctors say. Yeah, let's get 6 feet, right? Hey, what does the scripture say, right?
You're right. It's amazing too, and we're gonna cover all of that within this year when we do the nail and the coffin series, because again, brother's right. There are scriptures on on proper eating habits, that helps the body. The way the Most High made our bodies is made our bodies to self-heal itself. We're not even supposed to be taking no vaccines, nothing. Anything that the heathen offers, we don't, we are not to take that kind of stuff.
All right.
I mean, I'll finish off with verse 30 in Leviticus. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. Now, Israel, I want to ask you a question. Everything, just so that we're on the same page and there's transparency. If you think any of the scriptures we read in Leviticus chapter 18 is hard to keep, if you believe that it's hard to keep, put a 2 in the comment box. If this is easy to keep, put a 1. I just, I want to make sure, that, hey, we didn't miss anything, because, after reading this, how in the world can this be hard to keep, to obey? All right. Absolutely. And it's just, it goes to show you how easy the Most High's commands are. All right. And so now you have, and the crazy thing is, I have people telling me, especially some of these young sisters, like, I can't control myself. And these brothers, I can't control myself. I got to go out there and I got to get as much cookies as I possibly can. You got the women that are saying, I want the highest body count that I can possibly get. That's an abomination. That's not normal. That's not us. That's not the way it was designed to be. And again, this is why we have the laws. And this is why when you break those laws, we got the spreading of all these different diseases.
Right. The Most High doesn't tell us anything that's not good for us.
Exactly.
Right? It's like the ultimate laws to create a super holy soldier. Right. He's going to give you everything you need mentally in the laws, right, for you to transverse, right, your reality. He's going to give everything you need to build an optimal body, right? He's going to give everything that you need to prevent you from having trauma or any kind of, maybe you felt bad about yourself or anything. You know what I mean? Like, if you do the law and you keep all of these things, right, your confidence is going to be through the roof, right? Your willingness to obey and your ability to survive and to succeed on this earth is going to multiply 7 times 77. It's real easy. Just a little bit of discipline. It's only when you unzip and let that beast out that is within you, which is your body, which is only wants to seek things that feel good, is when things go to crap, right? When the stuff hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? That's always happens. But as long as you're in control, right? I know it's, sometimes it may be hard to stay in control, but continuously living in this manner will promote that way. The more you let your body be in control, right, the more that that's going to do nothing but drag you downhill, right? And that's going to open you up and to unclean spirits and demons that are going to be easily be able to hop on you to continually dragging you down.
Yeah. And right now it's going to take a power. What we're seeing right now is pretty much damn nearly irreversible. And the only way that it's going to be cleansed is the Most High is going to, of course, send the death angels. But I would love to see. That's why I can't wait. Until we go into the wilderness where we can actually be a people again. Keeping the laws. It's going to feel good to see our women in order. It's going to feel good to see the brothers protecting the women, and in their rightful place. It's going to feel good to see our people being fruitful and multiplying the right way. That's in itself is like a dream that seems so far off, but we know that we have to go through this stuff first, and all this wickedness has to manifest itself, unfortunately. So.
All right. Where you want to go next? Or you want
so I want to let me bring up this right quick because I want to talk about we said we was going to kind of bring out some sickness, and I know, brother, you got some things too, but I want to bring out a main point though and talk about when it comes to blood, eating of the or consuming of the blood, because that's where a lot of the diseases are. So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna read Leviticus chapter 7, and I'm gonna read verse 26 and 27. And brother, if you got anything, man, just jump in there.
Okay, go ahead. All
right. So Leviticus 7, y'all can see it on the screen. It says, moreover, ye shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of fowl or beast, in any of your dwellings. Whatsoever soul it be that eats any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. So what is it about the blood? Why does the Most High make a clear distinction? Make a clear command not to consume of blood? Well, for those of you who are nurses and maybe some doctors out here, I don't know, but the life of the flesh is in the blood, and that's where all the diseases is carried through too. Like diseases and parasites can be carried through the blood because the blood serves as a conduit for those kind of things. And so, Hamites do that stuff. They have a practice where they consume a lot of blood. All right. And we were never supposed to practice that kind of stuff. Anything. That's why when you see like heathens, they like to eat like almost like raw steaks and stuff that's just, almost bloody inside and everything. And then you notice like people get sick from that stuff, and mad cow diseases was one of the big ones that came from that because people were eating the meat, still had the blood in it and everything.
Heathens drink snake blood. They drink. Africans, they drink cow blood. They do all of that wicked stuff right there, man.
Yeah, they be doing ceremony. They'd be doing ceremonies with that stuff. They take blood and rub it on their skin and all that kind of stuff. Drink it. All that mess. What was that? It didn't say what it said that. I forgot what verse it was, but it said that Ham. We don't have to go there though. It said that Ham would be a base nation.
Yeah, Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
All kinds of abominable stuff.
Khan. You see, they still under the curse, man. Still to today, man. They got all the world's natural resources. However, right, they serve in other nations, just like Noah told them.
That's right.
You still see that today, right? Noah's curse still lasts today on the Hamite nations.
That's right.
It don't matter how much gold they got. Like I was looking at a program, they say they give the countries the gold, but their currency, right, is worth 15 times less than that of the other nations, right? That they're over here giving. I mean, like that doesn't even make sense, right? How does that even happen? I got all the natural resources, and I'm selling you the natural resources, but I still some kind of way still poor. What?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, man, the Most High ain't playing. When he says he's going to put a curse on there, that's why you got to read these scriptures, right? You can clearly see why the Hamite nations over there in Africa, right, they're going through the situation they're going through, and they're never going to get out of it. Yeah. Hey, man, we're almost to the end here, right? That's and they're still in debt. We got diamond blood mines and you know these diamonds and all the little. I mean, hey, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Most High, he does not lie. Whatever he says, it comes true.
That's right. And I know we covered some of that last week too on the sickness and everything. But man, it's so much, you know, especially on overeating and gluttony, because that can lead to sickness and diseases as well. You know, when people overeat and glutton. Matter of fact, I'll show you. Let's go to Leviticus 19:26 right quick.
Okay.
All right, Leviticus 19:26. Let me just show y'all something. All right. Goes over it again. Says, ye shall not eat anything but the blood, and neither shall ye use enchantments, nor practice sorcery. Because, you know, they were, you know, a lot of heathens were doing that stuff with the, as well with the sorceries and everything. You know, it's crazy.
All right.
What was that witch Saul when he looked up that witch and everything?
Yeah, man. King Saul was wondering why the Most High wasn't listening to him. And so yeah, man, he went to that witch that ended up pulling up Samuel. And Samuel's like, yo, man, hey, I don't know why you calling me up for. God done told me to tell you you're gonna die tomorrow. Leave me alone. Man, that was not. And then so Saul, yeah, he sure did die too.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me show you. Let me show you before I turn it back over to Brother Aton. Let me show you another one right quick. This is the one I really want to show you. Deuteronomy 21:20, and it says, "And they shall say unto the elders of the city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunk." Y'all know what a glutton is, right? You know, a person who overeats, somebody who's just constantly, and they just fat. What does overweight lead to? What does obesity lead to? It leads to disease and sickness, right?
And laziness.
So it's crazy, Israel, and how this is how wonderful the word is, because you know a lot of people who are, especially our people, and we see this a lot in the women, even more so when you compare our women to the 50s to this very time, as this we have gotten really, really, really huge, and a lot of that stuff leads to disease. Disease is like dis-ease, you know. At least diabetes, it leads to all kinds of problems, because when you have all that weight on you like that, it's choking all the organs, right? And what is the scripture says? It says that your body is the temple of the Most High. All right, so we're responsible for taking care of our bodies. We're responsible for putting the clean things in our bodies. We are responsible for keeping our weight down or keeping it normal. All right. It just leads to a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of sickness. And I've seen people, and I've dealt with counsel people, you know, that because of overweight, you know, dealing with diabetes, high blood pressure, all that stuff, you know, they suck and win.
That's right, man.
Yep, they suck and win. It's not a fun thing, you know. And we as a people, you know, we tend to be, especially being at the bottom, we are, you know, I notice our people, we tend to be poor in everything. We tend to be poor. We tend to be the most sickest, the most wicked, you know, the fattest, or you name it. It's like goodness, you know, when we talk about these curses, man.
That's crazy.
It goes, the rabbit hole goes deep, y'all. When we talk about being under curses like this.
And then just like Hosea says, like you know, our people, we don't even question. You know, we don't even question. We don't wonder, why is this happening to us? What's going on? Nobody goes to investigate or none of that. Every time somebody goes to investigate, you keep coming up with pharaohs and Egyptians, right? The people that first had us as slaves. All of a sudden, I'm a Hotep nigga, and you know, I'm a king, queen, or whatever, Nefertiti. And all of these wicked people that weren't even our people. I mean, like, you know, we have to just step away, right, from trying to be everybody else, and we need to come back to our own heritage, which is the greatest heritage on the earth, right? We literally are the only nation on the earth with a God. Nobody else has a God. Imagine that. right?
Mhm.
And everybody else, y'all want to worship these false gods and gods that have no breath and they never did nothing for nobody. Right.
Mhm.
All right. We're gonna go to Leviticus chapter 15. We're gonna talk about a little bit of uncleanness, right? You know,
Sure.
what happens, right? How to remain clean if you got a cold or you know, some kind of sickness or any kind of running issue out of your flesh. Right. Leviticus chapter 15, we're gonna start at verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that's us, right? And say unto them, when any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, right? You know, running nose, blood, mucus, whatever it may be, right? Because of his issue, he is unclean, right? This makes sense. If you have a runny nose, you have a cold and it can spread, right?
Mhm.
Which just means what? You are sick, you are unclean, right? And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanness. All right. Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean. All right. So you got somebody sick or whatever the case may be, whatever that bed is, that bed that man is on, that's an unclean bed. You are not supposed to sit on that bed, touch any of the sheets, do any of that stuff. And
Mhm.
everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean, right? So everywhere he transverses, right, he's going to be unclean. So if you got somebody sick, what you want to do? You want to try to isolate that person, right? You know, isolate them and their uncleanness, right, for a time until they get well. And whosoever touches his bed, right, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean to the evening. Wow. So if you even touch their stuff, right? If you touch their stuff or you do happen to, you know, sit on their bed or anything, the scriptures dictate that you do what? You have to even wash your clothes and your body.
Mhm.
And you are unclean until the evening, meaning that you're supposed to stay off around other people. Don't touch anybody else because it's possible that you could be sick too. But we're going to make sure that you don't have anything, right? You want to isolate yourself until the evening, right? Which is sundown.
And I want to comment on how true this is. You know, it's interesting. I used to work in a hospital, and it's amazing how much the heathens actually get from the scriptures because our forefathers was doing this thousands of years ago. You know, when I worked in the hospital, anytime like you went into a unit where there was a high probability of the spreading of diseases, you had to go full battle rattle. You had to have the mask, the face guard, all that stuff, the gloves, the gown, and everything. And like I said, those of you who work in hospitals, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These patients had to be separated until whatever the disease was gone, or what have you. But I find it amazing how the heathens follow exactly this to the T when it comes to a sick patient.
That's right.
Yeah.
Verse 6, and he that sitteth on anything whereon he hath had an issue, right, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. So like that's what I was saying before, right? And he that touches the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes. So even if you touch that person, right, the person is sick, right, you need to if you're trying to do something like check their temperature with your hand or something like that, them old stuff that your old grandparents and all that stuff do, man. Nah, you ain't supposed to be doing that, right? Nowadays, thank God for modern technology, well, at least some of it, right? You can give them a thermometer, right, and then you don't have to touch them to check them, right? But he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening, right? So you unclean until the evening, even if you touch that person. And if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening, right? So if you got anybody with, you can't even let them spit on you, right? Or accidentally, even if it's accidental spittles, they're talking and, some spit get on you. Hey, man, you got to hop your butt in that shower and, wash your clothes, throw them in the washer and you're going to be unclean until the evening. Don't sit them in the washer. Don't just sit them in the hamper, right? You got to wash them immediately, right? To keep the disease down, to keep things clean. And what shadow soever he writeth upon that he hath the issue shall be unclean. That's like a car
Yeah.
for today, right?
That's
Whatever
right.
seat that person is sitting on, right? If they're
That's
inside
right.
a vehicle, right? They're going to be unclean. That part is going to
That's,
be unclean.
that's right. Hey, I can take verse 10 and down.
Uh,
You want to? All right, let's go on. Let's go ahead and scroll up there. So then we're going to read the whole chapter here. All right. So again, before I read this, again, these commands and laws were in place to keep Israel pure and whole. All right. And these practices, and this is why we were doing so much better than the other nations. We weren't getting sick like the other nations because we had these practices in place. Anytime somebody in our camp got sick, we know how to take care of it and isolate it so that it wouldn't spread. All right. Verse 10, it says, and whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until the even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean unto the evening. So you had, not only that, you had to, wash your clothes, you have to bathe himself in water, all right, and be unclean until the even. That stuff had to wear off. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. All right. And that's powerful. Verse 12 says, and the vessel of earth that he toucheth which hath an issue shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. Man, that's crazy. And just not to get off the lesson or anything, but remember we talked about last week, we talked about when it comes to eating pork, because that is an unclean thing. All right. Remember we talked about how even if the pork was like if it was whatever, if you cook, if the pork was on a grill that you eat off of, you have to throw that thing, or pretty much throw it away. That's what I'm saying. When you go out to restaurants and stuff like that, you have to be very careful, because a lot of the pork and abominable foods are cooked on the same grills that you order the chicken and beef from. All right. Look at verse 13. I just wanted to just bring that point out. It says, and when he hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing. And if you notice, 7 days for the most part is when they waited. All right. Represents 7 represents completion, and wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in running water and shall be clean. All right, verse 14. And on the eighth day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest.
You know what? Hey, I want to add something, right?
Yep.
Hold on. Let me present something else, right? Before I go back. Let me big this up. All right. In the early in the mid 1800s, right? They didn't have a they had a problem with the rate of surviving pregnancy, right? So they didn't learn to wash but after they learned to wash their hands, right, which we see in the scriptures, right, which was reading about, right, you got to wash your hands, right, that brought down the survival rate to 1%. That brought it down from 18% to 1%. So it says, let me see. Let me see. All right, I'll just start right here, right? If there had to be a father of hand washing, it would be Ignis Semmelweis, says Miriam Warman, a professor of biology at William Patterson University in New Jersey, and author of The Handbook, Surviving in a Germ-Filled World. While working at the Vienna General Hospital, the Hungarian doctor was at the forefront of a more scientific approach to medicine, faced with a doctor-led maternity ward in which maternal deaths from the dreaded child bed fever were significantly higher than that of the midwife-run clinic there. But he racked his brain for clues as to why. Germs were yet to be discovered, and it was still believed that in the 1840s that the disease was spread by miasma or miasma, bad smells in the air. Okay, I remember that. If you guys ever saw that long, like these guys, they used to wear these masks and they had these long nose and they look like a toucan or whatever. You know, like sometimes like we see them in like scary movies or Batman. I think that one guy, he wears like a long mask. Those were filled up with flowers back in the day to try to mask the smell of the air to try to not to get this disease. Yeah, I do remember reading about this disease in the past. Right. But yeah, man, that's where they got the ideas for those masks were. Right. Anyways, it says bad smells in the air emanating from rotting corpses or sewage or vegetation. Victorians kept their windows firmly shut against such malevolent forces. So it didn't seem a problem that trainee doctors at Vienna General would hang out in the morgue dissecting corpses to figure out what had rendered them dead and then pop up to the maternity ward to deliver the babies without washing their hands. Right. So these doctors, they were in the in the morgue dissecting corpses, and then they would go to the maternity ward and deliver the babies without washing their hands. Right. One of them accidentally got cut by a scalpel during a dissection and died, seemingly of the same childbed fever the mothers had been getting. Right. Semmelweis hypothesized that cadaverous particles from the morgue were to blame, and that such particles on the hands of doctors were making their way into women's bodies during childbirth. To test this theory, he ordered doctors to wash their hands and instruments in the chlorine solution, a substance he hoped would dispatch the deadly smell of the cadaverous particles. Before the experiment, says Warman, the mortality rate for new mothers were as high as 18%. After Semmelweis implemented hand hygiene, which is simply, it means washing your hands, right, between the morgue and the delivery room, the rate of mortality for new mothers dropped to about 1%. Despite his success, his idea faced great resistance and met a tragic end. Right, he lost his job and thought to have a breakdown. He died in a psychiatric institution, a very despondent person until age 47. So which is crazy, right? You see that even though it worked, all he had to do was wash his hands, right? They deemed him foolish, right? They deemed this guy foolish because this guy said that he needed to wash his hands, even though it was true, right? That's just crazy how you read in the scriptures how the Most High, he has this, he has these things set up in the scriptures for us, right? And they work, right? 1 to 18%, man. I mean, for 18% down to 1%, man, that's that's super good. All right, Salaki, go ahead and take over.
All right. All right, verse 15. It says, the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. All right, verse 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even. And again, Israel, like in the seed or the sperm, it's blood in there, and what's in the blood, it's considered unclean.
God, so no IUIC doctrines, right, or any cap doctrines. This means you cannot lay with your wife on the Shabbat
or any of the holy feast days.
Khan, you're gonna make yourself unclean, right? No feast days, no new moon days, no nothing, because you cannot attend any of the holy days unclean. Right? We got to get this understood. That means you cannot be having sex.
And it says, and every garment and every skin whereon the seed is copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean unto the even. Verse 18, the woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the even. So the Most High had a plan in place. And the reason why, because if these things were left untreated, then it would spread diseases. It would spread sickness. All right.
Wait. Oh, go ahead.
So you had the Most High had a process where, hey, this cleanliness is going to help prevent our people from being sick. And this is like when brother read that article and everything. doctors have been practicing this for a while. But they get it from the scriptures because we were really the first ones that was doing this practice of cleanliness.
All right.
Brother, go ahead and take over.
I'll read. But also, what does this mean in verse 18? Right? The woman also with whom the man shall lie with, see the copulation, they both, meaning the man and the woman, shall bathe themselves in water and be unclean to the evening. That means that after sex, you need to take a bath.
Yep.
You need to hop that behind in the shower. This is not no, you sleeping in it until the next day, right? That's not how it goes down, right? You need to hop your butt up. You need to get in the bed. I mean, you need to go ahead and get in the shower, right, and wash off, and then take your butt to sleep, right? Matter of fact, we'll talk about that later. All right, so it says, verse 19, and if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening. Right? They didn't have tampons and things of that nature back in the day. Right? So the woman had to be out of the house. Right? So she wasn't in the house for fear of any kind of uncleanness dripping around on any of the wood floors or or anything in the house. Right? She could accidentally touch something and this, that, third. So she was put out of the house for 7 days. Right, and everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean.
That's right.
Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in the water and be unclean until the evening. Right. This is another reason why we say the Most High deems you not to run any red lights. No sex when the woman is on the period. You're not supposed to come to her in that kind of spirit at all. It's wicked, right? We don't care if they're feeling randy or any of that, during that particular time. Hey, no, right? And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in the water and be unclean until the evening. And whosoever toucheth anything that she set upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening, right? And if it be on her bed, or be on anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening. Right? And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, right, he shall be unclean. He shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth on shall be unclean. That means you as a man, if you lie with a woman on her period, right, on her menstruation cycle, right, if you even do anything like that, you're going to be unclean for 7 days, right? That means you can't you got to be careful, right? You got to be careful upon this situation, man. This can mess you up when it comes time for you to celebrate the Shabbat with your brothers, come up with all kinds of feast time. This is very important. Right, that's going to make you unclean, not just a woman, but you are unclean yourself for 7 days, brothers. Right, and if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, right, this is something outside the normality of her menstruation. Right, if it goes on longer than it should be, right, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation, and she shall be unclean, right? Every bed whereon she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unclean to her as the bed of her separation. And whatsoever she setteth upon shall be unclean as the uncleanness of her separation, right? And
just imagine, just before you go on, just imagine, because they didn't have washers and dryers back then, so it wasn't like they can just take sheets and stuff. And they probably had these thick covers on the grounds and everything. So it took a lot of work to do all that.
And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. Right. So if you touch anything that if she's on her menstruation cycle and you bother any of her products or bother her stuff while she's doing that, you got to wash your stuff, wash your clothes, and you're going to be unclean to the evening. Right. If you sleep with a woman, right, if you have if you have relations, right, sexual relations with a woman while she's on her menstruation cycle, you're gonna be unclean for 7 days. All right, you're gonna be unclean for 7 days. I'm gonna read 29 and then you take over, hit 30, brother.
Okay.
And it says, on the 8th day, right, she shall take unto her 2 turtle doves. Now, we don't even have to do that anymore, right? You know what I'm saying? You just ask the Most High, you know what I'm saying? You just ask the Most High to cleanse you, all right, for the sin offerings. All right, verse 30. Go ahead, out.
All right.
Well,
All right, Israel. So, and the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanness. So we need to go over this because this is what they had to do. You know, they had to make an offering. All right. 31. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that hath an issue, and of him. Now, read that again. This is the law of him that hath an issue. All right. In other words, these are the commands that are set in place that was to protect our people and to keep them healthy. All right. This cleansing process. And of him whose seed goeth from him and is defiled therewith. Verse 33. And of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue, of the man and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean. All right. So all these practices that we had, again, Israel was to keep our people. And this is the thing that set us apart, because the heathens were not practicing this stuff. They even unto today, they don't practice this. All right. This is why this is nasty. This is why they're considered unclean. Base people, because they don't practice any of this. And we wanted to really bring this out to you. I know it's a lot. You know, we were thinking about, we're going to, like I said, Israel, we're going to be taking a year to go over this, because there's a lot to go over. We pretty much just want to stick with the sexual immorality and the spreading of the sickness. We wanted to cover that. We don't want to get too much in anything else, because we're going to cover that in other series. All right. We want to just cover enough where we want to make it easy for you to digest everything that we're giving you, okay? Because we're giving you a lot of scriptures, and so you need to take time and just go back through and let this digest. Get your notebook. Hey, tomorrow after the Shabbat tonight, go to Walmart or something. Get you a notebook, Israel. Get you a notebook. Get you one of them notebooks where it has the dividers in it. You can put the tabs and start labeling. You can label it the Nail in the Coffin series, whatever, and just start labeling the titles and then getting all the precepts in there, so that you can start building up these precepts that we're going over with you. Because just to sit there and listen, it's all good, but you got to put the work in, Israel. You got to put the work in. Hey, if you're not doing it already, grab your notebook, get you a thick notebook, because by the time we get done with these series, I guarantee you that notepad is going to be full.
That's right.
And notebook, I got notebooks full. I mean, just tons and tons. I had to put everything on digits.
That's right.
All right.
So, Israel, what do we learn? Right? What do we learn today? Slovakia. That was me that did that. No.
Did you take your? Oh, there you go.
Slovakia. All right, Israel. So, what do we learn today? Right? Oh, okay. I see. No. That's me that's doing that. Yeah. That's me that's doing that. Some kind of function that I could do. Okay. Let me see. Oh, let me type it all. I don't think I'll type it.
And also, in the meantime, too, if anybody have any questions, next week we'll more likely go, because we're still going to be doing the steps of the as far as the uncleanness. Next week, if me and brother get together, we'll if we agree on it, we'll talk about intermarriage with the heathens, because that's also a sign of uncleanness as well too. So, and that right there is a whole lesson in itself when you're dealing with the mixing of the other nations. All right. Wash your behind.
Yeah, okay, right. So what do we learn today, right?
Yeah.
We learn to we gotta wash your behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wash your hands, right? Wash yourself, we gotta wash yourself. Hey, what do we learn, right? Don't be gay.
Mm-hmm.
right?
No incest, the most
That's right.
important thing.
That's right. That's right. And don't look at the nakedness of your mother, your brother, your sons, your daughters,
Yep.
your uncle's wife. Hey, you know, if they related to you, you don't need to be looking at their wickedness. I mean, you don't need to be looking at their nakedness at all. That's what we learned today, right?
Yep.
And what? Stay away from, you know what I'm saying, your woman, right? Salakia, right? Stay away from your woman. If she is on her what is that thing called? Yeah, con. Menstrual, menstrual cycle, right?
Yep. Yep. Eat no blood. Yep, you got
That's
it.
right. That's right. You know, and that's what we learned today, right? We're gonna wash your behind, wash your hands at all times, right? If you're doing stuff, wash your hands. You know, if you happen to have a wet dream or whatever it may be for you brothers out there, right? If you anytime seed is spilled, you need to wash your behind, right? Wash your clothes, and you're unclean until the evening, right? We don't look at the nakedness of our people, of our own immediate family, and also the family members that marry in. We cannot see their wickedness. You know what I'm saying? We cannot see their nakedness, right? We can't be homosexuals, right? We can't be we can't be trannyisms and all that other stuff, right? We can't be involved in that. That's going to cause sickness in the land and all kinds of disease. That's wicked. We got to stay away from that, right? Anything gay is not for Israel, right? We got to leave that to the heathens, right? You know what I'm saying? If your woman is on her menstrual cycle, stay away from her, right? Just like don't come around her far as trying to get sex or any kind of sexual favors. Don't even look at her in that matter. Watch the stuff that she touches. Be careful. You definitely don't have sex with that woman, period. You cannot do that, right? Why? Because that's going to make you unclean for 7 days. Remember, it says after the separation period, meaning that what? After she has her issue of blood, she is unclean for 7 days. Meaning that you cannot have sex with your woman for 7 days after she comes off her period, right? So that's like 2 weeks out of the month. Sometimes you just can't get none. Sometimes, brother, that's okay, right? There's plenty of other stuff that you can do, right? Because I know a lot of us out here, we're not on our grind like that, like we need to be. We're worrying about too much other things, right? It's okay, right? Getting these scriptures, right? Learn something that you could teach your son and your daughter and your family members, and learn how to be a better head of the household, right? And then support your woman during the time that she's going through her unclean phase.
All right, right. No bestiality. So yeah, y'all been paying attention. So this is what we're asking you to do, that next step. If you have not done this already, all right, tomorrow sometime go to Walmart or wherever, Targets, get you a thick binder or a notepad or something, whatever you desire to get to keep notes with, and like title them, all right, because again, we're gonna be going, man. We're gonna be covering pretty much all the 613 laws of the Most High. So, and you're gonna see in depth, and you're gonna see, wow, this is like most of this, we should already be practicing already, but you're gonna see the detailed laws that the Most High had put in place to keep us pure. So, and this is what this is all about. It's all about educating our people, giving you all this access. So that way, guess what? When you study these precepts and you apply these, you can turn around and guess what? Teach your children, teach your neighbors, teach your whatever, coworkers, those who are willing to listen. All right.
Also, I forgot, I saw somebody else remind me down in the comments, right? No drinking blood, right? Yep. No drinking blood, right? No drinking blood of any type. Right. So that means, we want well done food, right? It's not, we don't want anything sipping, dripping out with blood. That's wickedness. Snake blood, cow blood. We're not like Ham, right? We're not like them Africans over there, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, Israel. This is good. All good stuff. Good stuff. That's what I'm talking about right here. All right. Y'all of it. Hey, and all praises, for our faithful brothers and sisters that have been with us for a while. I think we've been, I don't know how long we have the channel now, for almost going on 3 years now.
Oh wow, we've been here that long, Modern Brotherhood.
I think so. It might be a little more. I have to look back though. But yeah, we've been doing this for a while. We want to thank you all for just sticking with us. Each one reach one. Hey, let's get the word out. Let's get the word out so we can get the hell up on out of here. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, Israel.
Get as many people as possible to encourage many of our people to keep these commandments. Right? Even though, our people are stiff-necked and everything, but, hey.
Let's go, Brother Lawrence. I see you out there.
All right, let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see, I got a neighbor. Right. Okay, neighbor that I've been going over there. All right, all praises.
That's right. It's one step in the right direction. Let's get it. All right.
That's right. Yeah. And going up with these laws is going to really help our people. And again, we anywhere from 6 months to a year, just depending. We're not going to rush it. Just depending on how the Spirit leads and everything. We're going to keep this up for a while.
That's right. Hey, these laws are not. These laws are definitely can be done, Brother McClendon. It says half of all the laws are easy. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't get how people feel that these laws can't be done, right? Yeah. If anybody says that the laws can't be done, what does it say at Thessalonians? I can do all things through Hamashiach, who's strengthening me. That means you can do all things.
That's right.
As long as you got the power of Hamashiach on your side and you believe in keeping the faith, following the law is going to be easy, right? It is not a burden, some stone, right, at all. It is something easy to do.
And and the easiest part is that you don't even have to do the sacrifices anymore because again, my shop was the sacrifices. You just have to make the sacrifice with you to be obedient.
That's right.
So
make sure you ask the Lord for forgiveness and to clean you.
Yes, right. So when we look at the Torah, all right, 5 book of Moses, and dealing with this was the whole purpose. A lot of people try to say, "Oh, this was only for Moses in this time." No, it was for his people generation after generation. All right, because you saw what we read that this applies. Even doctors and even hospitals are using these methods.
That's right.
For treatments and everything. And we've been doing this. Our people have been doing this for thousands of years.
It's time for us to get right, Israel.
Yeah. We got to, and we got to teach our children. All right, get them out of these holidays. Teach them our feast days. That's what we got the calendar for.
God, that's right.
And hey, invite your family members to come. To hey, when we have celebrate the feast days, the Shabbat.
That's right.
They can get together then, but If they get mad because you don't want to get together on their holidays, hey, we got our own feast days. If you want to join me on our feast days, you're more than welcome.
God. And so Israel, man, be on the lookout because that's what we're going to be doing there. We're going to be covering this for the next few months, I believe, because it probably take a few months for security. But our gift to you, we're just going to go over, go over the law indefinitely, right? Show every
months.
part
I said
of the law.
From 6 months to a year. It's going to be a while.
Right. So we're going to go over this law. And we're going to make sure, right, that nobody has questions at the end of it, right? We're gonna end up putting it on a playlist, right? So you guys can just go through there. Anything got any questions about man? We'll even go over the feast days on how to keep those, and this, that, and the third, just to make sure that you have a full all around understanding of keeping the law.
Well, actually, Israel, if you go to the Mind of the Brotherhood, if you look at the playlist, you'll see all the lessons on the feast days. Because last year we did a lesson on the first of each month, all right, the Hebrew month.
God, that's right.
And everything. So you got the knowledge. There's no sense of us repeating ourselves, but you have the knowledge. Just go, and again, that binder that you're going to get tomorrow, that's going to help you. So just take your time. While you got some downtime, most of you are going to be off anyway. Your job's going to be shut down for these holidays anyway. Take that time to go with these precepts.
God.
So with that being said, I don't have anything else, brother. We're gonna cut it off here because again, we want everybody to digest what we give. I know we give a lot of scriptures.
That's right.
And So with that being said, if I don't have anything. If I don't have anything, we're gonna bid you a hearty Shabbat Shalom.
That's right. And stay strong, Israel. Stay strong.
All right.